Here we are again with a movie that I had very, very low expectations for, but I ended up actually kind of liking it. So my name is Chet, this here is ChetChat, and we saw King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword. So King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword is pretty much an origin story about King Arthur, and that's really it. I don't really know much about King Arthur. I've seen its lore spread out through many different medias and games and books and comic books and references. Even Kingsman has references to King Arthur, but I never really knew the story about it, so I can't really compare and contrast on how well this movie did getting the lore down. I at least know they mentioned Merlin and you see mages and stuff, but that's really the gist of it. I don't know much about it, so I want you guys to know that going in right now. So yeah, I actually really liked the movie. I guess it's because I had low expectations because, you know, as a person who loves science fiction, I feel like it's only natural for me to not like pretty much the opposite of science fiction, which is the medieval times, and this movie actually does it right. It actually brings out the part of medieval times that I really like, the fantasy aspect of it. See, I've always wanted to see a medieval movie with like mages and magic and knights doing awesome stuff, but I felt like I never really got that, and finally in King Arthur we get that feeling of magic and awesomeness where mages could actually do something. The movie even starts off with just this mage who ended up breaking the truce between mages and humans, and he just mows down these people because he's a mage and he has these awesome abilities, and it shows in the movie. Like, he can actually do whatever he wants. And then you see King Arthur's father. He's this awesome badass who has this magic armor that just makes him one character victory the whole squadron, and it's so cool. So right out the gate, I'm like, okay, I'm in love with this movie. I love the fact that they're using magic to like their full extent, not just lasers, bad magic. So that's what made me like this movie ultimately. Other than that, coming down to just making the movie, I felt like there was a lot of good pacing in this movie. I never felt like, okay, come on, let's go. Because the way how they tell stories in this movie is like this weird way of montage with narration that is interesting and compelling. And the narration is not just one person talking, it's almost like a dialogue. For example, there's a part in the movie where this person is asking Arthur what he did the night before, and Arthur kind of explains it in a Michael Pena kind of way from Ant-Man, where he's talking over a montage of images from what was actually happening before. And it happens many times throughout the movie, but not in the same exact way. But it makes it fun and interesting, and not just the Hobbit walking through the mountains with music and stuff, but they actually make these important moments of traveling feel quicker and more interesting because they don't dwell on it. They just show you the interesting parts and they go like, okay, let's get to the next scene. So I really like that about the movie. I felt like it just kept going and going and going, and there's no romance story. There's like slight hints of romance, but nobody gets really too romantic, and you just keep going with the story. And then you also have these great characters who are really fleshed out, and they look like a ragtag group of knights, and they're awesome, and the mages are awesome. Jude Law is really good all the time. Hunnam picked up the slack from The Lost City of Z, which for some reason people love that movie. I don't know why, I just didn't like it, but he does really good as King Arthur in this movie. I just can't really say anything too negative about this movie. I really can't really think of anything. It was just so much fun to watch. Great time. Freaking Guy Ritchie does a really good job. He pulls out his Guy Ritchie-ness from Sherlock Holmes and puts it in this awesome movie and delivers a story that is really fun to watch. I guess the one thing I could actually complain about is that there was some CG involved in some of the choreography, and I really didn't appreciate that because they showed that they can actually do good choreography and good special effects, but for some reason this one scene was just out of place. I really wish they could have done without it, but it's a minor thing in this movie, just this one scene. Everything else is so good. The characters look cool. They're like this fashionable version of medieval times for some reason. Like, they're not wearing, you know, the usual puffy blouse and long garb and linen cuirass. It's like the American Eagle version of what medieval times would be. And then the armor looks cool, the weapons look cool, the creatures look cool, the magic looks awesome. Just go and have fun and watch this movie, man. So that's all I really have to say about this movie. I know I've been hyping it up hell hard, but I really enjoyed the hell out of it. It was really fun. I didn't expect much from it, and it delivered for me. It gave me that magical feeling I wanted to have from a medieval movie that I haven't seen in, I don't even know, in a long time or in a while. So yeah, this was ChetChat. Give it a like if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Please let me know what medieval movie is out there that has good magic stuff. Like, I just really can't think of it. It's probably really obvious, but please just let me know. And let me know if you saw King Arthur and if you liked it or not. And if you didn't like it, you gotta explain to me why you didn't like it. I could respect that too, man. You know, we all are different people. We could watch whatever we want. All right, now I'm gonna stop talking. Bye.